There will be no justice for the Palestinian people if all we do is watch content about what's happening. Consumption is not politics.
People really defend Asmongold. That's so embarrassing. Honestly, Mudahar. I need to cover him more. He seems like a total piece of... He was saying that like he's going to offer to fly Hassan out to Palestine. Dude, oh my god, he's such a loser.
Of Asmongold's suspension from Twitch was then weaponized against these pro-Palestine voices, most notably Hassan, in an effort to get him deplatformed. To do this, they compiled a number of short clips taken from Hassan's live streams, using them to accuse Hassan of things like supporting and promoting, allegedly denying October 7th violence, and making anti-Semitic statements. Each one of the clips and their associated accusations can be traced back to prominent posts on Destiny's subreddit. Some of the clips were sourced from videos that criticized Hassan from well over a year ago. These clips were initially hosted on a website created by a member of the campaign called HamasPiker.com. Soon after, another website was created, DanClancySucks.com, a reference to the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy. Another goal of this campaign was to get him fired from the company. This site also hosts all of these clips with their associated allegations: anti-Semitism, promotion, and eventually, several major YouTubers in the usually apolitical commentary sphere made videos that signal boosted these allegations to millions of viewers. Most of these videos used the same clips, many of them directly citing this smear campaign's website.
There's a website known as DanClancySucks.com.
Or there's also a website that's been created called DanClancySucks.com that goes over it all.
Another website, Advertise on Twitch, shows a collection of ads playing before the dishonestly framed clips we've looked at, and the contact information of the companies is provided. It auto-loads a preset email with just one click, allowing participants in the campaign to mass spam these companies with the related smears. There were several motivations behind this campaign. There were direct material incentives. On YouTube for the past few years, there's a big industry that's exploded in popularity, and it's based on a simple concept. Hassan, bad. Hassan Piker is bad, and he's dumb, and bad in a probably. We can call this the Hassanabi Dunk Video Industrial Complex. It's common for YouTubers during low view months to join in on the fun and make these types of videos, taking short clips from Hassan's thousands of hours of live streaming to misrepresent what he's saying, usually parroting the exact same talking points they're getting from the same YouTubers in the same community. They're watching each other's videos and making each other's videos. It's kind of like a perpetual cycle of dumb guy slop. It's interesting to see YouTubers that typically cover TikTok drama and gaming content randomly giving their opinions on geopolitics, but that's the result of such an ecosystem. It's not about the politics, it's about making money by attacking a guy they don't like. Because the guy in question happens to be a political content creator, they have to try to do politics. It's really funny to watch, honestly. It's also wild because the political content creator in question is an anti-content creator, and the arguments they're attacking him for are arguments. So these creators, they're positioning themselves in opposition to him and his arguments, de facto positioning themselves on the pro side. Anti side is pro side. It's quite the precarious predicament they've placed themselves in. Do they realize it? No. Do they care? Probably not. But that's what's happening. That's what they're doing. The success of Ethan's video, which garnered over 3 million views in its first month, is a testament to the algorithmic viability of Hassan bad content. Get in front of a politically illiterate American audience and call a pro-Palestine influencer
promoting hateful music videos,
propaganda videos,
hateful music videos. Oh my god, bro. But I can't really say anything that Noah Samson isn't saying. These guys are all morons, and they're just repeating American propaganda talking points. And yeah, once again, it's like you get to serve capital, and you get to pick up on these like cultural flashpoint issues by attacking Hassan, and then that's like a money perpetuating machine. Oh, Hassan bad. I'm gonna click and I'm gonna watch it. It's really no different than what Republicans do, where they're like that moron, whatever Bacon, who Tim Walz was doing a rally in his district, or he was doing a town hall in his district, and he's like, well, Tim Walz supports trans people. It's like, you have nothing, dude. You have nothing. That's all you have to say. Tim Walz supports trans people. That's all you're gonna defend yourself with.
And a video.
Collect big fat AdSense check. That's how it goes. And Ethan knew it would do well too, and made sure to get a sponsor for the video.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video.
Which was a VPN company that happens to be owned by an Israeli billionaire with a history of funding and supporting the IDF. He's not a Zionist though. apparently. Apparently he's not a Zionist and he's pro-Palestine.
And I've been a stalwart supporter
He
of
is
the
a Zionist.
Palestinian cause for many years.
A few years ago, Destiny was banned from Twitch. Since then, he has repeatedly attempted to be reinstated on the platform, and the latest attempt by using the campaign was probably the closest he's ever been in terms of putting pressure on the platform.
We're tired of your site changing the rules every week. Nobody knows what's going on. Get your together, unban Destiny, and make a site that people actually want to go to.
Dedicated the last 2 weeks of my life basically to Steve's cause.
You're talking about the Twitch thing?
Yeah, destroying Twitch.
Some of the motivations for the campaign are political in nature, though, obviously. You know, Hassan Piker is one of the most prominent pro-Palestine voices on YouTube, and this campaign has been orchestrated by Zionists. The website that started this campaign, HamasPiker.com, doubled as a donation page for a prominent Zionist organization. Since learning about the existence of Israel on October 7th of 2023, Destiny has positioned himself as its #1 cheerleader, showing up to debates to defend the apartheid state using Zionist talking points and denying that is taking place. On the Lex Friedman Israel-Palestine debate, Destiny justified Israel's slaughter of 4 Palestinian children in the Gaza beach bombings using talking points plucked directly from IDF spokespeople.
Those kids weren't just on the beach, as is often stated in articles. Those kids were literally coming out of a previously identified Hamas compound that they had operated from. They literally did. You can Google it. You can Google it.
With all
Mr.
due
Finkelstein.
with all due respect, you're such a fantastic moron. It's terrifying.
I left Finkelstein's iconic response in there because
Yes,
he is 100%
thank you, Noah.
correct. The events of that day were witnessed by dozens of journalists. There is no real dispute as to what happened, except from, of course, the party that slaughtered the children, which is Israel, and in turn, its propagandists, like Destiny. He's also explicitly called for the Palestinians.
Honestly, I'm pro. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just drop its borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but that's about where I'm at.
It's this guy and his community who are the source.
Oh,
for
but he was
every one of the
joking.
arguments
He was
that
only
Ethan makes
joking.
in his video. Do
Noah.
stalwart advocates for Palestinians normally collaborate with advocates for Palestinian? No, they do not, in my opinion. Destiny's podcast co-host Dan Saltman, the other main driver behind this campaign and the one spearheading the creation of these smear websites, is also a Zionist. Saltman promoted pro-Israel organizations like the ADL and stopped anti-Semitism, and Zionist politicians like Richie Torres, who shared and boosted the campaign. He consistently weaponizes Zionist talking points, like asserting that any reference to Zionism is actually just coded anti-Semitic language, the implication there being, of course, that criticizing Israel and Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic. That's a very common Zionist tactic. It's like the Zionist tactic, in the West at least. Perhaps the most significant motivation, though, and indicative of the sort of unserious nature of this campaign, is just spite. These people all seem to have deep personal vendettas against Hassan and these other creators that should give one pause when considering the seriousness of the campaign that they're running.
God, he's so f***ing cringe. He's such a cringe f***ing loser. I would pay we'd raise $1 million to send this dude to go fight in Yemen, and then all of us would volunteer for the Navy. Holy shit, he's such a cringe.
Destiny has for almost 5 years just obsessively talked about Hassan on his channel. He's made video after video about him. The frequency of these videos increased after Destiny was banned from Twitch. In the span of time since then, he has uploaded almost 80 videos about Hassan out of a total of 450 videos. So that's at least 1/5 of his working life spent talking about Hassan. In contrast, in the same span of time, Hassan has uploaded over 1,200 videos, and he's talked about Destiny a total of 5 times. 5. 4 of them have come in the last few months while covering Destiny's role in this smear campaign and the credible allegations of sex crimes against him. So that's less than 1% of his coverage. This isn't an internet beef. Hassan has a stalker. With Ethan, I feel like I can kind of spot the moment that he started going into this direction, which was the moment that people started calling him racist for saying racist stuff. It was one argument he made where he compared Jewish Voice for Peace anti-Zionist activists to capos.
There was Jewish collaborators with Nazis.
Ethan, don't do that, please. Don't say that the Jews' Voice for Peace are akin to capos. That's...
I'm telling you that the mere existence of Jewish voices is not It's not a leg to stand on. I don't understand that.
The chat started calling him a Zionist freak because that's a Zionist freak thing to say. And then since then, he's sort of constructed an entire mind prison around the idea that he's not racist, and anyone calling him racist is actually the real racists. And because Hassan's community is politically oriented and is able to spot the racist rhetoric in question, that means they're all extremists and Hassan is leading them, so he's an extremist. And that Hassan and them are all the problem, and that he's a perfect angel, which is the direction he's taken, it seems like.
My only crime is wanting a two-state solution instead of one, and thinking it's not okay to kill Israeli civilians. That's it. That's why they're calling me a Zionist.
And now he's just totally gone off the rails. He spends most of his time cowering in fear behind Instagram stories that people can't respond to. Every single one of them.
Oh man, there's no way Ethan watches this video, right? Like he would freak out. Yeah, he calls them token Jews. If you're a Jew and you're anti-Zionist, you're a token Jew. You're insane.
The uploads on his personal YouTube channel in the last number of months have been targeted towards Hassan. He spent most of his live podcast talking about Hassan and calling him a and whatnot.
What is this? Bro, I have not seen a single one of his Instagram stories. I didn't know he was posting about me this much. Oh my God. Every day? Every single day? No.
There was that one Instagram story where Ethan Klein was having to evacuate due to the wildfires or something, and he managed to make the post about Hassan and about how Hassan probably thinks it's awesome that his house might burn down while his family is in the background trying to evacuate the wildfire.
I was just joking, Noah. I can't believe you took that seriously. I'm a comedian, Noah. I was just joking. Why is everyone taking it seriously? Sure, that was the first thing that came to my mind, but it was a joke. Don't you see, guys? Like, I'm a comedian. I don't mean the things I say.
It's just wild. Ethan Klein has repeatedly denied any association with this campaign and Destiny or his community. That may have something to do with the recent credible allegations that Destiny is a sex criminal, but this is false. Ethan has been caught on his live podcast browsing the Destiny subreddit for arguments to use to attack Hassan. Leaked Discord logs show Dan Saltman admitting to exchanging emails with Ethan and the H3 team personally during the campaign. And even if there wasn't evidence of direct communication, the far more important connection is that Ethan is saying the exact same things, using the same out-of-context clips that everyone else used to call Hassan a or whatever. It's been a group effort. That's just what it is. So just a few final thoughts here. Zionism is it's an ethnic supremacist, expansionist, colonial ideology. You can't have Zionism without an ethnic cleansing. That's the end goal of the project. It's what it is. Palestinians are there, and for the Zionist project to be complete, they have to go. Starve them out, bomb them, destroy everything they need to live. Those are the methods. Those are what they're employing as we speak. And like Zionism cannot be defeated through reform or debate. It must be destroyed from the outside through efforts made by the Palestinian people, the Palestinian resistance, and coalitions of allies. As history has shown, the downfall of these kinds of racist ideologies is possible, but Zionists cannot be a part of this process. They're Zionists. They uphold Zionism by spreading Zionist propaganda and spending all their time and effort attacking anti-Zionists, even as those anti-Zionists are actively fighting against that Zionism is the ideological pretext for. In the case of liberal Zionists like Ethan Klein, using his weird personal Zionist crash out as a jumping off point to educate people about the ideology that he adheres to is a great use of time, I think. And Bad Empanada has done a fantastic job with that. His videos have reached pretty
Bad Empanada, but don't you know that he's wanted in more than 30 countries for children and being a Muslim terrorist? Noah Sampson, you're platforming someone who's a wanted criminal.
Audiences and expose them to the reality and history of the Zionist project. That's a really good thing. That's a really important thing that he's doing, and I think many of you can probably also help out with that. Most of you have smartphones and cameras and TikTok, so go ahead. Start posting about it. Spread the word. Aside from being a morally good thing to do, it's also becoming sustainable. It's algorithmically viable. The Ethan Klein crash out industrial complex is booming, and we can harness it as a propaganda machine to expose Zionism for the ideology that it is. You may have the feeling, as I often have, that the history books will look back upon these times and those who supported the Gaza with shame and horror. The only problem with that is that these people feel no shame. They're here to make money, and to convince themselves that they aren't evil. And the way they do that is by lying, by spreading liberal Zionist propaganda. It's profitable and it's easy and it's acceptable. You're allowed to say that you think all Palestinians should die.
I'm pro
And still get invited to Jubilee as the resident liberal. You're allowed to do it and run your quirky, epic, silly podcast and make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that because the Western media ecosystem encourages it. There will be no justice for the Palestinian people if all we do is watch content about what's happening. Consumption is not politics. There will be no justice for the victims of this unless we all actively fight for it. From the position that most of the viewers of this video have, that's by using the resources and time to continue to speak out, preserve the record of what's actually happened in Gaza, name the perpetrators, and highlight and boost the voices that understand these facts more than anyone in the world, that is, the Palestinian people. Don't stop sharing their stories or contributing to direct aid. I'll leave a document below with some Palestinian voices and outlets that you should follow and campaigns to contribute to. In If I Must Die, Rifat El-Arir tells the story of Yasser Ashur, a young Palestinian survivor of Operation Cast Lead, Israel's late 2008 onslaught in Gaza. During Cast Lead, Israel bombed a UN school, which was also designated a safe zone, killing 44 civilians. Ashur was 14 at the time of the attack, and Israel killed 5 of his classmates and friends. Ever since the massacre, Ashur has tried to honor the memories of his classmates by exposing Israeli crimes. I run a few Twitter accounts with tens of thousands of followers, he said. The battle for justice for Palestine over social media is crucial, and we have to win it. We don't have Israel's billions, but we have the power of the truth. And that's what we have. We have the truth. October 7th blew the lid off the Israeli project. October 7th is the reason you're here watching this video today. Israel's response to it has radicalized a generation of people by exposing the Israeli state and its backers in the West for what they are: depraved, ethnic supremacists, lunatics. That's the truth. We have all these tools to speak the truth, and now's the time to do that. So just do it. I don't know. Don't stop fighting for it. Free Palestine.
That was a pretty good video. That was a better video than I was expecting. Oh yeah, it's really disappointing, dude. Like, really, there's no difference between this and interviewing people and being like, oh well, Israel says it's not doing it, so we can't say it's a, like, I have to push back against that. No difference in doing that whatsoever. And you can see, like, why is Ethan in support of Hassan, who humanizes someone that, like, I don't know, Ethan claims is a Houthi rebel? Why is he in favor of that? Or why does he criticize that, but yet he's in favor of the movie No Other Land, which is getting canceled for stuff that Ethan Klein would support? So, Miami Beach mayor threatens to close down cinema for showing Oscar winner No Other Land. Director says banning documentary won't work. Updated with statements from O Cinema and International Documentary Association / Art House Convergence and details of meeting to vote on the cancellation of the cinema's lease. The mayor of Miami Beach, Florida, is threatening to shut down an art house movie theater showing the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, branding the film as anti-Semitic. So, the mayor of Miami Beach is trying to cancel a piece of media that shows Palestinians in a human light, saying that it's anti-Semitic. Can I think of anything that has any similarities to that? Someone calling another person anti-Semitic because they are criticizing Israel and supporting Palestinians. Definitely not Ethan Klein. He would never do that. He would never label someone as anti-Semitic, but then for supporting Palestinians and criticizing Israel and try to get someone shut down. You better watch out. You might have picked up some anti-Semitic tropes if that theater is anti-Semitic. Mayor Stephen Miner issued a draft resolution calling for his city to terminate a lease agreement with O Cinema located at Old City Hall, a property owned by the city. The resolution, to be debated at a city commission meeting Wednesday, March 19th, also would eliminate about $40,000 in grants provided by Miami Beach, the nonprofit that runs the theater. O Cinema began screening No Other Land last Friday, 5 days after it won Best Documentary Feature at the Academy Awards. The film, directed by a collective of 4 Israeli and Palestinian filmmakers, provides a ground-level view of life for Palestinian residents of the rural Masfar Yatta area of the occupied West Bank who live under an expulsion order by the IDF. which wants the land for a military training zone. The documentary shows IDF forces knocking down Palestinian homes and schools pursuant to an expulsion order, as well as violent attacks by Israeli settlers on Palestinians. In addition to the Oscar, the film has won more than 60 awards around the world, including the top prize for documentary at last year's Berlin Film Festival. In an AP review, critic Mark Kennedy described the film as a piece of resistance but also humanization. He wrote, "It is a wrenching movie to see soldiers with vague permissions from a court the Palestinians have no say in, push old women and children, not answering their pleas to stop and merely waving away residents whose families have lived in the region since the 1830s. In a newsletter distributed to his constituents, however, Miner offered a sharply different take, noting, "I watched the film," he wrote, "No Other Land can be best described as a false, one-sided propaganda attack on the Jewish people that is not consistent with the values of our city and residents." Conflating Israel to Jewish people. I'm sure no one else has ever done that, and no one on the internet that I've been covering recently. "I'm a staunch believer in free speech, but normalizing hate and then disseminating anti-Semitism in a facility owned by the taxpayers of Miami Beach is unjust to the values of our city and residents and should not be tolerated." Man. Could you imagine if we had this kind of systemic resistance to Nazi propaganda? If we arrested people who were in white supremacist clubs or arrested people that were marching in parades? Can you imagine if we had a fraction of this kind of resistance of this kind of structural opposition to Nazi groups? If Elon Musk sig hailed in front of the entire country and then all of Elon Musk posts were banned because it is promoting. What the did Elon Musk just promote? Elon Hitler tweet. Musk's boost claims that Hitler was not to blame for the Holocaust. Where's the tweet? Where's the tweet? Here. Elon Musk reposted this. He shared a post on his X platform by an account with the username @theAliceSmith that read, "Stalin, Mao, and Hitler didn't murder millions of people. Their public sector workers did." And he reposted that. Oh, great job. But no, it's pro-Palestinian movies that are now anti-Semitic. Dude, this country is going to hell. And it's interesting that they're using like the anti-Semitic talking point. Like as said before, they're using anti-Semitic talking point to criticize people like Mahmoud Khalil and Hassan. But really, they're just going to start getting rid of the anti-Semitism thing and just be like, yeah, actually, it's just that they're anti-American. They're doing anti-American stuff. If you criticize America's foreign policy in the slightest, then you're going to be anti-American, and people are going to be able to do whatever they want to you. If they're in power, right? If they support Donald Trump, they're going to be able to do whatever they want. Yeah, he reposted this. Elon Musk reposted this. This was March 14th. When did he post this? March 12th. So like 3 days ago. So what does he say? This is an attack on the Jewish people. Just once again, imagine how unhinged and like lost in the sauce you have to be to see an example of Israeli imperialism localized to one neighborhood dealing with soldiers trying to evict them from their homes. It's an example of a neighborhood dealing with an eviction force, killing them and moving them away from their homes. And you take that example and say it's an attack on the Jewish people. A story of one neighborhood resisting soldiers is an attack on the Jewish people. Like, they're not even trying anymore. They're not even trying. It is so naked and obvious that any kind of pushback, any kind of peeling back the curtain to show Israel as what it is, and put it in like even the slightest of a negative light, then then that's like an offense punishable by banning you, like destroying your lease, taking away your freedom of speech, deporting you. It really is. They're not even trying anymore. Did that happen within the last few days? No, like 2016. I mean, I thought Elon Musk posted this. He reposted this March 12, 2025. Elon didn't say the private sector in the US murdered millions or any country. Hitler's private sector did the dirty deed. Hitler was the mastermind of the murders. I understand what Elon said, but I guess the woke people wanted to blow it up and make a big deal about it. Okay, whatever. People defending Elon. Okay, so does he have more to say? Due to the concerns of anti-Semitic rhetoric, we have decided to withdraw the film from our programming. The CEO of O Cinema appeared to concede, but the next day O Cinema reversed the course. In a statement sent to Deadline on Thursday night, Marthel explained, "My initial reaction to Mayor Miner's threats was made under duress. After reflecting on the broader implications for free speech and O Cinema's mission, I, along with the O Cinema board and staff members, agreed it was critical to screen this acclaimed film." Marthel's statement added, in part, "Our decision to screen No Other Land is not a declaration of political alignment. It is a bold reaffirmation of our fundamental belief that every voice deserves to be heard. The ability to present diverse perspectives without fear of political retribution is the cornerstone of a free and democratic society. Efforts to pressure or censor artistic expression set a dangerous precedent that threatens the creative and intellectual freedoms of all." Okay, so they received a standing ovation. Worldwide distribution total of 1.3 million. That's so bad. The documentary was shot between 2019 and 2023. In his newsletter, Miner said, "Hate under the banner of culture is still hate, perhaps even more dangerously so. Germany used its advanced culture." Its advanced culture? Germany had advanced culture? Okay, bro. To disseminate and mainstream Jew hatred culminating in mass murder? What? Hamas and Hezbollah indoctrinate hatred to justify its attack on Jewish civilians, including women, children, and the elderly. The 9/11 were indoctrinated to hate innocent Americans who were just going to work to help feed and support their families. Are you going to talk about any of the atrocities Israel has committed? No, you're not, because the entire point of what you're saying is to try to defend Israel to do more atrocities. Here's a joint statement released Friday by the International Documentary Association and Art House Convergence. As representatives of the oh my god, this is long. Anyway, pretty crazy stuff. So with all of this being done, with Israel starving Palestinians, bombing them, with this documentary being banned, and places that are airing the documentary being accused of anti-Semitism, with pro-Palestinian protesters Mahmoud Khalil being blackbagged, I'm sure that Ethan Klein has been talking about this. After all, he is the Palestinian #1 supporter, even better than Hassan, and he always does keep the Palestinian plight at the top of his mind. So let's scroll down to the description and see where they talk about Mahmoud Khalil. Okay, Tiger and Galia. Gabe calls in, serial taste testing. Okay, well, it's a Goofs and Gaffs show. They're doing the Goofs and Gaffs. Leno driving a tank. Maybe if it is in Israel. Ethan caught in public. Okay, no. God bought this pastor a Tesla. No, that's not it. Cam got a song. Take his kid's girl is back. Okay, CPS. That has nothing to do with Palestine. Bad Baby versus Alabama Barker. That's not Palestine, is it?
I'm gonna try that.
Oh. Does this have anything to do with Palestine?
Can I ask something?
Yes.
She's white, right?
She's Italian.
Read to you as an outright denial that anything happened. She's in there.
So, I'm gonna tell y'all my side of the story.
Okay.
How I found out up until now.
Okay, I don't care. I'm just reading the description and the timestamps. Reading donos and small talk. Oh, small talk. Maybe Charlie Kirk defends Elon. Does this have to do with Palestine? Let's see. That is 222.
Yes.
Charlie Kirk was defending Elon's "My heart goes out to you" thing. The obviously like
Yeah.
And they're like, well, do it then. Do it. And he wouldn't do it.
Oh.
And then they're like, just show me what my heart goes out to you. And he does this. He goes, my heart goes out to you. And it's like,
Bro, that's not what he did.
That's not what he did at all.
That's not at all what he.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with Palestine. That's just Elon Musk's sig hail. Charlie Kirk defends Elon. Joe Rogan had another Nazi on his show. Okay, well, maybe this is like a pro-Palestine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's
Let's never forget that.
Apparently, yesterday, some sort of like fascist historian dude was Joe Rogan's guest. So that's kind of two back to back. And this guy, I actually, unlike the first one we kind of skipped over talking about, I have at least heard of because he got into a bit of controversy a couple months ago going on to Tucker Carlson's show and doing like a long interview there in which he claimed that Winston Churchill and the British were primarily responsible for World War II.
It was very bizarre.
It was a very like.
Okay, well, that doesn't have anything to do with Palestine. Galia's message to Hassan. Dan Clancy confronted Galia, finishing her segment. Matt League from GMM is bad news. Mudahar versus Hassan. Okay, so they have Hassan hate, but they must have talked about Mahmoud Khalil, right? Maybe it was in the previous show. It won't stop. Maybe it was in the previous show because that has to do with freedom of speech. It has to do with like Palestinian protesting. They must have talked about him, right? They must have talked about Mahmoud Khalil. They must have talked about no other land getting shut down. Maybe not about that, but Mahmoud Khalil for sure. Intro, what are we streaming today? Tom's Instagram story, Serial Talk, Grandpa Tom calls in, Watch Talk, how to pronounce Abdullah de Portnoy, ordering Taco Bell about the CPS meeting, Small Talk, Tittle Talk, Food Boys, Jimmy Lee on the news, how tall is Ethan Klein, Gila Klein, Taco Bell, another tight clothes, another lol cow, Trump and Elon Musk Tesla ad. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, God. So no, definitely not true, man. Ethan Klein, we have to keep Israel at the forefront of our minds, but when someone gets blackballed for supporting Palestine, silence on it. And it's kind of the dark truth that this is what Ethan wants. He wants to live in a world where if you criticize America, you get canceled. If you criticize Israel or you support Palestinians too much, you're going to get canceled. And canceled in the real world. I mean, Hila said that Adam McIntyre should disappear for criticizing him or criticizing her. So, yeah, not surprised that they're not really speaking out about this. They never bring up Palestinian issues. They never bring it up. The only time they say they bring it up is when they're defending Israel. When someone says something bad about them and they're like, oh yeah, like you guys support Israel. And they're like, well, we support Israel, but we also support Palestine. And we always should keep Palestine at the top of our minds. They don't keep it at the top of their minds. It's out of sight, out of mind. And unless someone's criticizing Israel, they're all too happy to forget about what's going on in Gaza. It's honestly disgusting. And it's one thing if you're David Pacman and you're Brian Tyler Cohen, or you're any other number of liberals that are supporting Democrats and your only job is to support the Democrats no matter what, and you don't talk about Palestine and you don't talk about Israel and you just don't care. You don't care that Palestinians are getting genocidated because at the end of the day, if you bring up the genocide, that could hurt Democrats because the Democrats support the genocide as well. Now, if the Democrats were against it, you could bring it up and that would be good. He spoke about the Jewish Voice for Peace protest. Where is that? Let's see. It must have been in here, right? Small Talk. I'll just search it in the transcript. But like the real issue is, it's one thing if you don't mention it at all, but it's another thing if the only time you talk about Israel is to defend Israel. That's when you go from like being passively Zionist because you're not going against the predominant narrative to actively Zionist. You don't go against the predominant narrative. You're a bystander and you're like passively supporting the predominant narrative because you're not like actively pushing against it. But when you're not only not going against the predominant narrative, but you are also being used as a cudgel, either like knowingly or unknowingly used as a cudgel to beat down people that are pushing against that narrative, then like that makes you twice as bad. So like even if you are not advocating for the predominant narrative, you don't have to. That's the predominant narrative. It exists on its own, whether you support it or not, but you are attacking the people that are like resisting that narrative, going against that narrative, bringing information to people they wouldn't otherwise get. But guys, consider signing up for memberships. It helps me out, helps my editors out. Only $1 a month, so it's really not a big deal. Your name can be green. That will be cool. And thanks for watching, everyone.